The window is open. There might be some weird sounds. So I feel like I say this all the time. It's been a while. I have sort of just like not been reading because I've just been, my mind has been on other things. Like the Eras tour was in Philly. Just like there are so many things going on. But I have sporadically been reading Blade Breaker, the second book in the Realmbreaker trilogy. Realmbreaker is about this girl who finds out that she's like some chosen one, essentially, and there's this sword that can, I believe, rip open tears in the universe, allowing other universes to come in and also close them, and she's like the only one who can wield it. And there's this big mythical, like magical bad guy who is attempting to open doorways to all of these worlds so that he can rule everything. They're not even in the book Realmbreaker. They're just like this force. There's no physical manifestation. The characters in the book kind of describe it as like a feeling. That's, I feel like, the best way to describe it, but I kind of can see a physical manifestation coming in the future. This bad person is directing these two physical manifestations, like followers in the real world, who are working for this big bad guy and like not even causing chaos, just like being bad guys and like corrupting people and like trying to like take over different kingdoms while this big bad guy like waits in the shadows for all of these tears in the universe to happen so that he can come through. And it's not heavy, but there's just a lot that's going on. It's a massive world. Victoria Aveyard has drawn inspiration from Lord of the Rings, which I can definitely see. This is like a young adult Lord of the Rings, which I love, with more women. I've been reading this. I say this all the time. This series, which there are only 2 books out right now, it's only Realmbreaker and Blade Breaker, have taken me literal ages to finish. Realmbreaker, the first one, came out in like March of 2021, and I didn't even finish it until, I don't even know, probably sometime in 2022. This one came out in June or July of last year, so 2022, and I'm still reading it and I'm not even halfway through. I'm close to halfway, but I'm not halfway. And there's nothing wrong with the books. I love them. I absolutely adore these books. I love Victoria Aveyard's writing. She's probably one of my favorite authors. But there's just something about these that I want it to go really slow. And I think that that's because the vibe of the book is like a quest. It's like a really long span of time that these people are like in the book for. maybe like it's like I want my life to feel that way. I don't know what's going on in my head, but I love this book. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And it's not like slow paced or anything. There are like fast paced moments. So I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the fact that there are a lot of different characters' perspectives. I'm loving it. It's just taking me forever. And the third book in the trilogy, so the last book in the trilogy, is getting a lot of like press right now because she just announced the title of it. So I'm feeling the pressure. Even though the next book doesn't even come out until 2024, I think in February. So I have time, but things are happening. And I very much don't want to get spoiled. I love it. I'm annotating it. I love it. It's just taking me forever. I went to the library a couple days ago, which you would have seen, and I got a whole bunch of reading done then. It was a really like productive environment, which I liked. And I was planning on going again today, although I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna do that, because I feel like today is just like, it's such a beautiful day out, but I feel like it's like an indoor day. Also, like Taylor Swift has like for the past 2 days, she's been releasing Karma featuring Ice Spice, More Lana Snow on the Beach, hits different on Spotify. This new song, You're Losing Me, which is literally taking over my entire brain. It's incredible, the lyricism and like everything that is happening in that song. Plus, she's in New Jersey for her tours yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and she announced like a music video last night, and there were surprise people, and there's a concert tonight and tomorrow night, sure to be more special guests because it's like her New York show. So that's taking up most of my brain power right now. So I don't know if I'll be able to get into like the calm enough headspace to like sit down and read a bunch, which going to the library would probably help with that. But who knows? Everything's up in the air. I don't have to do anything. It's all up to me. It's whatever I want to do. You know, that's the beauty of life. I have decided that I'm going to read at least until like 75% of Blade Breaker. Just hit myself in the face. I'm pretty sure like 20 pages away from being halfway through. 25% after halfway is probably around page like 200-ish pages, which I think is doable. I know I sound really discouraged, but I just want to finish this book because I love it so much. And I just like want to see what happens. I've also been putting this off for days and days because I've had like really bad headaches, even though reading helps with the headaches because it kind of turns my brain off and only makes me focus on the stuff that's in the book. So tricks I have, well, there's really only one trick I have to like turn my brain off even more. I'll just show you. There's this video on YouTube by the Guild of Ambience, and it's called The Enchanted Lands. There's 3 of them, and they just have this like super ambient, like enchanted sounding music. And they're also on Spotify, so if I only have my phone, I can just listen to it on there, but I like to like watch it, and it moves like ever so slightly, like the clouds are moving a bit, and I think there's like rain that you can see. This is just like the most helpful thing that I've found that gets me in the mood and the vibe of the book. So I try and listen to it whenever I can. It's just so perfect for the vibes of especially fantasy books. From a slightly strange angle. I'm halfway through. I'm loving it. I have no complaints. This isn't a complaint. This is just something that I've noticed, is that nothing has really happened. They're just on a quest. I don't mind it. is what I'm kind of surprised by, is because the world building and the storytelling is so intricate and really beautifully written that I really have absolutely no problems with the lack of plot development, I would say. But I'm also wondering if maybe that's why this is taking me so long to read, is because they're like literally all they're doing is just writing. It was super fast-paced in the beginning, and then they kind of met someone who gave them a person to go to, like gave them like their next stop. They essentially like met the main character's mom, who they sent off to like go find allies, essentially. We're not reading from her perspective, so that's something that's gonna come back in the end. Yeah, so since probably page like 200, it's been riding through the desert and then on a ship across the ocean, and now it's riding in the North Country, and so it's just a lot of trekking and a lot of riding, but I don't mind it. That's the main plot line. The subplot about like the villain subplot, essentially told from the villain's perspective, or the secondary villain. Honestly, she might even be like the tertiary villain. She's just conquering a bunch of land, like a bunch of other countries in the world, and it's interesting to like read from her perspective, and things are happening that are going to help each side in the end. There's not really anything thwarting their plans. It's kind of just little like spats and skirmishes here and there that don't really have any effect on what they're doing. But again, I don't mind that. I don't mind that it's literally just a big old quest, because that's okay, in my opinion, if the world building and the writing and the atmosphere is there, and it is there. It feels very character driven, which I do like. This is a book that is not, like, it's not hyped, it's not a book talk book, and like I haven't seen a single person talk about it. I haven't even looked at the reviews on Goodreads, simply because I knew that I love Victoria Aveyard's writing and I will have no problems with the book. I can see how any other fantasy reader would read this and be like, oh my god, this is so boring, nothing's happening. That's just not how I view it, because I can see the scenery, I can see the atmosphere in my mind, and it's just really beautiful and something that I really love reading about and like watching in my head, essentially. Everything's going really well for the villains, everything's going really well for the band of heroes, and I'm used to stories like that. Red Rising is the perfect example. Like, that series is a perfect example of how everything's going really, really well, and then so I'm expecting that. I'm not like ignorant to the fact that that's definitely gonna happen. Victoria Aveyard is like known for that. Like, she's known for just like completely wrenching out your heart in like the most random way. So that's definitely gonna happen. I'm not like, that's just something she does. I'm expecting it, but not in a bad way. And I'm just like, oh, what's it gonna be? And that's what makes it fun for me. You can feel the tension, you can feel that like something is gonna happen. The fun thing for me is that I don't know what. So I'm halfway. I've put these two little, I don't even know if you can see them. They're two little tabs every 50 pages until 75%. I'm going to read. I should have mentioned that I'm only on page 290. And I said that nothing is like no plot development has happened since page 200. So, I mean, it's only been like 100 pages. It's a 578 page book. So I still have a lot to go. I'm expecting fun plot things to happen. So this wasn't a criticism at all. Like, I still am really, really loving this book. So I just finished another 50 pages, and I kind of want to amend my statement that nothing has happened. Things have happened nowadays in the book world and entertainment world. People want to consume their media really, really fast, and they want it to be fast-paced. I think it's really refreshing when there's a story told that's slow but really, really meaningful and interesting, and just focused on building these characters and like massive conflicts that they're going through. internal and external. And so there are just these really atmospheric scenes that keep happening that aren't fast-paced at all. So it feels like nothing's happening, although that's not true. We're just getting more insight into all of these people and like what makes them want to save the world. I have just stopped on the villain's point of view, like the evil, she's not evil, but like the misguided queen, who's like working for the big bad guy. Her chapters are really easy to read, but they're so frustrating because she's so misguided. That's what's making me pause a lot and like go on my phone or just like get distracted really easily, because they're super easy to understand and read, but she's just really frustrating. And so it's hard for me to kind of read and read and read. But then there always are like big chunks of like not her chapters. So I am craving a smoothie. So I'm gonna go make a smoothie, take a little break, and then I'm gonna come back. I got my smoothie, I got my water, I got what that last clip was. I went to the library and they have a free book section at the front, and it ends like a hardcover copy of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover was on there, and I was shocked. I hate Colleen Hoover, I hate everything about her books, like it's ridiculous. But the fact that like that super hyped, literally being made into a movie TikTok book that's a hardcover was just like sitting on like a free bookshelf, shocking to me. So I just had to like explain what that reaction from me was. I think I'm gonna read some of Blade Breaker. I am 50 pages away from 75%. Hopefully I can get that done today, but I'm not constraining myself, I'm not pushing myself, I'm just reading how I feel like. Yay. Oh, also, okay, we got Eras tour merch. This is a very Taylor Swifty vlog. I am 75% of the way through. It's getting really, really, really good. Things are happening. Twists, not even like big twists, just like small little like really intense moments that like you wouldn't normally expect are happening. I think I mentioned last time that the queen's perspective was not my favorite, but I think she's like obviously like one of the bad guys, but I think it's so interesting to have her perspective in here just because it gives insight and like tells the story of like what she's doing while the heroes are like trying to like save everything. In the last like couple chapters it got super atmospheric. Things are happening. There's a dragon. The dragon has been in the book since like page like 150. So I was kind of like, okay, where did this dragon go? Like, I was like, okay, like it'll probably come back sometime, but it was kind of like it just poofed out of existence. But now they're talking about it again. The dragon has just been biding its time, apparently. I was like 200 pages out from the end, and they're like gearing up for like the final battle. But I think she's doing a really, really, really good job of setting it up. Like explaining everything, explaining the setting, explaining who is going to be involved, this dragon. We're almost there. I'm like really happy with myself. Okay, so I am 100 pages out from the end of Blade Breaker, and I don't even know what's happened in my brain, but throughout the last like 50, 75 pages, I have just fallen in love with these characters, the storyline, the world. The big battle that I had mentioned was not the final battle, so I'm expecting more fun things. What else? There's like a slow burn romance between two of the two of the characters that I'm just like, I see it and I'm really, really like, it's so good. And actually, one of the things I really appreciate about Victoria Aveyard is, and she has spoken about this before on her Instagram, is that she doesn't really write steamy, spicy scenes. In the book world right now, it just feels like all about the spicy books. And I'm just like not into that. Like, I want a story. And I know that like story and spice can coexist. I feel like everything I see nowadays is just like romance books, and I just like, I don't know, I want more. So I'm really, really appreciative of that, where it's like, there's not explicit romance. I feel like it's not necessary in a lot of fantasy books, which is why fantasy is fantasy and fantasy romance is fantasy romance. So yeah, I just like, I feel like that's like, it's so hard to come by nowadays. I feel like every single book, no matter if it's fantasy romance, like whatever, it always has like a really like steamy scene in it, and I just like, I don't need it. But like the romances are happening. They're happening, and they make me like they make my heart flutter. I see it. I love them together. It's gonna be good. It's like super creepy and atmospheric. The big bad guy kind of just like made a slight appearance, which is the first time that has ever happened in like 900 and something pages of this series. So things are happening. I'm really into it. I really want to finish it tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to, but like it's ramping up. I know that I said that it was really slow in the beginning. I feel like at this point in this book, that was necessary to like really get to know these people, get to know what they fight for, what they like, what goes on in their brain for these like really intense, fast-paced scenes to happen. So it's a really good balance, and I am really loving this book, like way more than the first one. Okay, so I'm like 40 pages out from the end. I'm like, I need to finish this. Like, I'm going to. I have to now. The big actual final battle just started, and it's crazy. Like, it's so well written. I can see it in my brain so perfectly. I should not have finished this book. It was so good, but had such a heart-wrenching ending. And like, this isn't new. I knew Victoria Aveyard was gonna do this. Like, this is what she does, is these like, just like absolute gut-wrenching plot twists. But I mean, it was incredible. Like, I live for that kind of stuff. Like, it's gut-wrenching, but like that's what makes it good. Like, it makes me feel things. So absolutely a 5-star. Even though it took me a while to get into it at the beginning, once I did, like fully in it, did not want to put it down. Her battle scenes are literally epic. I keep mentioning the dragon. It obviously it came back, but I forgot about it. They were like, oh, the dragon, and I was like, oh, I forgot about the dragon. She has said that this is like inspired by Lord of the Rings, and like, yes. Not to the point where like it's like so obvious, but like you can see where she draws inspiration and like what kind of themes she builds. I also wanted to kind of mention, we're like watching this queen become an evil queen in real time. I also said that she wasn't evil. She's definitely evil. Like, by the end of this book, she's like an evil queen, which is why I said earlier that like maybe she's not evil, she's just misguided. But like it's fascinating how we're like seeing the transformation into an evil queen at the same time that we're seeing the people trying to defeat her. I feel like in so many stories, you already have the evil person, and to build up that villain arc at the same time that the heroes are trying to like defeat her is fascinating, and I've never seen it done before. But it also provides like reasoning for why this queen is the way she is. We have an entire storyline from her perspective in this book, in the last book as well. So you feel like you know her. There are moments where I'm like, oh, she has feelings and she like is feeling things, and I like empathize with that. And then she'll like kill someone and I'm like, oh, no. So it's so like, it's really, really well done. And if we get more of this queen in the next book, if I didn't have everything that's happened with her in the first 2 books, I would think she's a one-dimensional character and like where the hell did she come from, yeah, blah blah blah. The thing that happened in the end, on a fundamental level, I'm a little bit pissed by it, but like it's incredible storytelling and I think that it's gonna have good storytelling repercussions, so I'm into it. It's gonna make way for like an incredible plot arc in the next book, so I'm not mad about it. It's also just a book. 5 stars all around. It was better than the first one. I am 100% in this world now. In between the first book and the second book, I was like, okay, like I get it, like I know these characters, but I'm not like I'm not obsessed with them yet. I'm not like, I don't love them, I just know them. This one, I'm like, I know them, I love them. If any of them die, I'm gonna go insane. Like I'm in this world. I cannot wait for the next book, which I'm like pretty sure comes out in like February of next year. So I have a while to go. Like halfway through this book, I was like, oh, I want to read it now because a lot of stuff's coming out about the next book. Like it's so far away. Now I have to wait. That's why I was like, I shouldn't have finished it. I should have like taken my time with it, but it just like captured me. It's like good for now, but maybe a little bit frustrating in a couple months.